Guys, welcome back to Favorite Ironing Customs. It's Michael. This week's video is going to be a little different. As y'all can see behind me, I got a coat of primer, actually 2 coats of primer on the car last weekend, and I did a video on it. I've kicked back and forth whether I'm going to post a video or not. I was having some problems. I got the primer too dry. I'm going to have to sand it, back to level and try to prime it again, maybe thin the primer. Sunday the temperature is supposed to be down in the 60s in the morning, so that would be probably a better time to try to shoot primer on this car if I reduce it a little bit. Anyway, y'all watch that video on Wednesday. Like I said, I have a couple of ideas about what went wrong, but the other thing that went wrong with this, or not went wrong, when I installed my new, I installed a new water separator, and it's not really separating the water. So, it's not quite big enough. I got the old one that I had before, which was a Harbor Freight unit. That actually did a pretty good job. Just the regulator went out on it, and anyway, I'm gonna put that one in there. But what I'm going to build is one of these water traps, and this is not going to be a how-to on how to sweat pipe, because guys, I do not know how to sweat pipe. I actually bought the sweat on ball valves, and I decided that me doing this, I've never done this, and I went back and I just went and got some sweat on bungs so I won't mess up the ball valve in the process of putting the valves on. And anyway, and what this does is your air comes in and it goes up, and as it goes up, supposedly the air will cool, the water will drain down. There's going to be a ball valve on the bottom of each one of these lines that you can open, and as the moisture condenses and comes down, it will collect in these tubes, supposedly. I've seen this done a couple of times. It looks like a fairly good idea. It's kind of expensive. At this point, I've got some parts I need to take back, but I'll probably have pretty close to, well, right close to $300 in this. But you know, copper ain't cheap, and basically I had to buy a kit, and I went ahead and bought one of these little brushes to brush the pipes with and everything. So I'm gonna jump into this, start working on it. Like I said, it's gonna take a couple of days. The first thing I'm gonna do is sweat all the bungs for the ball valves on the bottom of these tubes. That way I can put the ball valves on, get them situated, and sweat it at the next joint, and hopefully they'll all be facing out and won't have any problems, you know, with ball valves where you can't open it. Alright guys, I'm about halfway there. There's definitely an art to doing this, and that's why I'm saying I'm not going to do this as a tutorial. I may show y'all a seam, but y'all be better to go out on YouTube and find somebody else to teach you how to sweat joints. As you can see, this is how I'm going to set the valves up. I've already got these soldered in place. I've got the other end soldered in place. And I'm going by and doing each pair and working my way to the end, setting the valve where I just flip it down to drain, or you could do it the other way. There's probably code or something that you're supposed to go to if you're doing a house, but this is how I'm doing it. We're going by the code of my shop. So anyway, we'll get back into it tomorrow. Valerie's home from work. I'm going to go hang out with her for a little while. And like I said, we'll come back tomorrow and finish this up and hopefully get it on the wall. Alright guys, I'm back at it again. I've been kind of not away from doing anything in the shop for about a week. I had a nasty arthritis flare up, so we're going to get back on this and try to get it done. I am not a professional pipe plumber, pipe fitter, sweating joints. This is kind of something new for me. So, like I said, don't take this as a tutorial on how to sweat pipes, okay? I'm gonna bring the camera in closer. I've got one fitting left to do. I did actually half of this last week on, you know, the last day I recorded, and was planning on getting out here the next day and getting back at it, and like I said, it just never materialized. So I've already brushed this pipe. I brushed all the pipes before I assembled it the first time, but I'm going back and brushing everything again to make sure that it's nice and clean. And my understanding is you want your connections to be nice and clean. And like I said, this is the last solder joint. I'm going to let it cool overnight, figure out how to put some air on it tomorrow before I mount it on the wall. I've got to pick up some clamps, and I'm actually going to have to clean out a spot on the wall for it to go. I do need to get another fitting for the other water separator that I have. I actually have an old Harbor Freight, part of a Harbor Freight separator that did a pretty good job. And actually, my wife said, she said, Michael, last time you painted the car, you didn't have problems with water. And she was right. I had a different regulator, and it would have just been simple to do that. But, you know, I want to try to eliminate and get the driest air I can, and not just for painting, but for the plasma cutter and everything. You know, you want to keep your air as dry as possible. So, and this is my understanding as to how this goes. I did drop the flux in the floor, so it's got a little trash in it, so we're working around the trash. We're going to put the T. This is a 3/4 T to a 1/2 inch pipe. In the T section is a 1/2 inch pipe. You want to put flux, and it said in the video, it said, don't put too much flux, but don't, you know, make sure you put enough. Okay, put a quantity on there. I don't know how to do that. I do not know how to put that quantity on there. So get your flux in there, make sure it's in there good. And I went ahead and put the ball valves, screwed them in. I'm using anaerobic sealer to seal this with. I've had pretty decent luck with air fittings and anaerobic sealer after messing with the car and, you know, using the thread tape. I'm kind of done with it, and I want to try something different. And when I plumbed in my new water separator that I got before this little thought process started, I used anaerobic sealer, and I've got no leaks. So that may be an idea. There may be something wrong with that. There may be somebody in this comment screaming right now, don't put anaerobic sealer, it'll make your compressor explode. Maybe not. I got good viewers, guys. I thank y'all for all the comments y'all leave. And I thank y'all for the likes. I got a few new subscribers this week. That made me really happy. Kind of helped me get out here and get back to this. So all we're doing is also putting a union to a pipe fitting so we can put a threaded bung on the end to run a hose out of. Or, I mean, you could put a threaded hose if you wanted to make up the hose. I'm just gonna put a barb fitting and put some clamps on it and rock on. And somebody's probably saying that that's wrong too, and I absolutely agree. And a lot of people are saying a lot of things are wrong. And I hear Glenn now. Glenn is like, Michael, why in the world did you buy copper? Why didn't you use PVC pipe? Because somebody's going to say using PVC pipe is wrong, although I've worked in professional mechanic shops and the whole place was plumbed in PVC. Anyway, we're trying to do as best as we can with what we got. Oops. My other torch was actually not getting hot enough. So, and from what I understand, you want to heat the bottom side of your joint, the heat goes up. I think the melting point of solder, I can't remember, is probably somewhere around 300 degrees. I don't know, I'd have to look for that. I do not know. I'm going to add a little heat to the top. That torch is acting kind of weird too. Could have probably took the sticker off of the pipe. And I'm trying to do these joints kind of, you know, one section at a time, so I can. It was not doing that when I did the other ones. I'm trying to do it one joint at a time so that I can put heat here and here and here and here, and, you know, kind of work and not have to put as much heat back into it. Like if you stop, you'll have to put more heat back into it. From what I understand, you want to put about 3/4 of an inch of solder in a 3/4 inch pipe. I'm not measuring this stuff. I got one right there that's got this big ugly bubble on it, but I mean, it was the first joint that I did, so I ain't too worried about it. We're going to put some air on it, and I can't remember what they think is a capillary effect or something, where the heat in a fitting, the heat in the pipe actually will draw the solder into the pipe. And I will try to find that word and post it on the screen in the whenever I edit the video. But there's an actual name for that effect where the heat draws the solder into the pipe. And I'm hoping this holds, guys. Like I said, we're going to put some air pressure on it before we stick it on the wall, because it would be a total pain to stick it up there and then have to take it down and see how the first joint was really kind of hard to solder in because it didn't have enough heat in it. And this one's got plenty of heat in it. Alright. Probably went a bit heavy on that solder. I don't know. Like I said, we're going to put air pressure on it probably tomorrow. I'm going to let all these joints cool down good. It shouldn't take but just a couple of minutes for them to cool, but I'm going to let them cool overnight. Then we're going to seal it up, and we're going to find out if it'll hold there. And if it holds there, we're going to stick it on the wall and finish plumbing in this system and call this little project done. And so far as projects go, I haven't posted anything on my second channel yet, the Maker channel, for anybody that's interested. That is Ferro Iron Makes. I mean, that is what I intended for this channel to be originally, but I have a lot of people that likes cars and the car videos, and if I post a knife video, it usually doesn't get that many views or something else. But I've ordered all the stuff to build a electric lap steel, and that's going to probably be the first video on that channel. And I'm running out of room on my card. Alright guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Alright guys, I know y'all know that I'm capable of some pretty sketchy stuff, and this is very sketchy. So I was wanting to leak test this before I hung it on the wall. That's great. Let's just stick a razor blade right next to a potential pipe bomb. I don't know whether I'm more worried about my solder joints or how sketchy my pressure testing pipes are. But with that being said, I got my little 1/4 inch adapter here. That seems to be the only place that I'm getting any leaks. I guess what I could do is grab some soap. If you wanted to check it, put soapy water around it. I feel like if it was leaking horribly, I would probably feel it. So we're going to go for it. So what I got a couple of 2x6s. Let's get this unhooked. Alright, I got a couple of 2x6s here that were left over. I made a guitar rack to go in the house. You know, since my guitar collection has kind of taken off in the last couple of years again. To get everything kind of hung up and tidied. And help, you know, make the wife happy and all that. So what we're going to do is get some acetone and clean these boards up, screw these pipes down, and when we get done, I'm going to make some room to put this up on the wall over here. I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to go. My intention was, I thought I had a fitting to go in the other water separator, but I do not. But with that being said, all I got to do is get it semi installed tonight. I've got to go in the morning with Glenn to pick up some lumber. We're going to finish off shelter on the back side of the shop. I had a tarp over it for years, and the tarp finally tore off. I have 10 to go on it. I need to get a few pieces of wood, so you know, we're gonna get that before it gets like 1,000 degrees. You know, it's 75 today and I'm dying. So by the summertime, if I wait till then, it ain't gonna happen. So let me get this done and I'll come back. Dogs. Anyway, hey guys, we're gonna wrap this thing up. This was a whole lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I've got it mounted. Let me take a step back. Yeah, and y'all don't mind that corner right now. When we get done with Valerie's car, and probably after I get my car back in here and it's still on the floor rolling, I'm going to go ahead and hang up some more OSB. I'm going to take everything off of that wall. I want to paint this wall, the rest of the back wall, cover it in OSB, cover this wall in OSB, and paint all of it white to try to help with the lighting in here and clean this area up. So anyway, back to the water separator. So now y'all can see how this works. The air comes in here, and you're going to have your first place for the air to stop or hit, and then part of the water, you know, is going to have to go down, and for it to get in the next pipe, it's got to go all the way up and then come over, and then it'll have another spot to go down, if that makes any sense. So there are 4 drains, and they're just open and drain, and those 4 drains should hold whatever water. I think it should work really well. The ones I've seen on YouTube seem to be working really good. I'm going to do a update on that, I don't know, month or two, let y'all know how it's working out. I did not get my other water separator put on there, the old Harbor Freight unit that I've had for a while. I don't have the right fitting, so, and I figured out what happened to the fitting I was going to use. I've already used it. Ain't that always the way? So we may pick one up tomorrow and go on and stick that on there, and we may have to move that cobalt separator again over enough to let the other one fit. We may try to just hard line them together. I don't know, I hadn't got to that part yet. Tomorrow we got this shelter thing to do, and I want to get the car sanded down, blocked down, and re-primed on Sunday, I hope. But hopefully Wednesday's video will be the first time I prime this car, and you get to see all the things that went wrong while I was priming it. And then maybe next week it'll be what I do this Sunday. So anyway, y'all like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Tell me how you think this is going to work. If you would have done it differently, let me know. You know, I'm sure there was probably cheaper ways. Yeah, I'm not even going to say how much I got in it right now. It was, I could have bought some really big water separators for what I got in that little bit of copper pipe right there. So anyway, yeah, if it keeps the air dry, keeps the air out of my paint gun, keeps the air out of my plasma cutter, you know, it's worth it. It's going to be worth it in the long run. So like and subscribe. I will see y'all later.